This January I decided to make a film about the changing of the seasons in the garden at Gratton Street. My grandmother put a lot of effort into keeping this garden beautiful and alive, as well as kind of wild. She loved this place. I wanted to share with other people the way that small things in the garden change over the seasons and the months of the year. The idea of this video is to record something in honour of Grandma, and also to show people who can't always visit the garden in all its seasons the beauty that I would like them to see. I have one friend who's overseas at the moment and who often can't visit the garden even if she is here because we live relatively far apart and don't drive and so on. So I wanted people like her and for other members of the family who love the property and grew up here to be able to see its transformation over the seasons. In this video you'll hear the natural sounds of the garden, as I think that music would spoil it. The magpies warble, other birds chirp, the water rushes as the garden is irrigated, and sometimes you'll hear the loud sound of a train, which characterises the house at Gratton Street. So this is January. Our first major heatwave has hit, with weeks of temperatures over 40 degrees. All creatures great and small in the garden are appreciative of our irrigation and bird baths and other small amounts of water that are placed out in the garden. We've even had a regular visit from a koala.
Oh my.
Some plants suffer in the heat already and have to be watered regularly, but the Australian natives are built for this, and other plants are flourishing under the strong sunlight and regular water. It's necessary in this kind of heat to water each day. Every morning I spend out in the garden, watching the butterflies that flit past, and watering each plant thoroughly. There are a relatively large number of fruit-bearing trees and plants on the property, but it's pretty rare to get to eat any of this fruit at the moment because of the beautiful parrots that visit and are lovely to watch but eat their fill of many of the plants that we grow. At the beginning of January, bee activity was quite scarce and I had to do a lot of hand pollinating of these vegetable plants. But luckily, it seems as the heat wave goes on, we actually have more and more bees around, and I think that perhaps that's because there's water here, and when we run the soak hoses or the drippers, they're able to get some moisture themselves. watch the insects and spiders and the little skink lizards that make their home in this garden, I think it shows just how much life this garden supports and how we have our own little unique habitat here. The garden is full of butterflies this January. There are wanderers and other similar orange patterned butterflies, as well as cabbage butterflies that never stop moving, and tiny little moths which I have called the storm moths, since they tend to come out in huge numbers when the thunder approaches, or when I spray the garden with water. The mulch dropped by native plants actually provides quite a good fertile soil for vegetables to grow in. Since we've been staying here, I've found it a lot easier to grow my own fruit and vegetables than I found it anywhere else that I've lived. There's a lot of dappled shade and mulch on the ground all year round, and that promotes a lot of earthworms. Is that a bit cooler? Your ears have gone all droopy with the water. January has been full of beautiful geraniums and natives, and some of the plants have put on some beautiful new growth, but I do hope that February will have shorter heat waves and maybe a little less over 40-degree days. Those aren't ideal, and they do require a lot of effort to keep things alive. I'll look forward to seeing the changes that take place in the garden over the next month and the rest of the year, and I'm excited to have had the idea to share this with all of you.